welcome to this exciting episode of Bob the Sign Man. I haven't been making too many videos as of late. Things have been a little hectic around here with the coronavirus going on. Budget cuts are severe at the county. We're doing what we can to get by. We used to have this asset management program for tracking our traffic signs, and we're getting away from it. We're going into this little thing called Esri. It doesn't do everything we want it to do yet. But things are a little slow right now. So with the budget cut coming up, we're getting rid of our one program called iWorks. It was a pretty good program while it lasted. Granted, it's like over $5,000 for it. So out it goes. And now I'm going to be doing the tracking. And so I made a really nice Excel spreadsheet, and I'm keeping really good track of it. I'm going to kind of show you how I do that. This coronavirus is, really getting, it's changing the whole way of life. I get my groceries delivered now at the door, and I had this knock on the door, and this person's like, "Hey, let me in." I said, "Hey, you're not coming in. Just leave them at the door." It kept knocking, and finally, I let my girlfriend in the house. I said, "Okay, come on in." Hey, what can I say? And to help things out a little bit, I thought, maybe I'll get a chicken, and to make some sandwiches. Big mistake. Got a chicken. All it does is just run around the yard, run around the kitchen, and make clucking noises. So I was reading this little article. Yeah, I know that was bad. So I was reading this little article about a conductor on a train back east. This is years and years ago, like in the 30s or 40s, something like that. Anyway, so there was this conductor on the train, and he murdered 2 people. So he was convicted, and he was sentenced to the electric chair. So they tried to electrocute the conductor 2 different times for each murder, and it didn't work. They couldn't electrocute him. So they had to let him go. Come to find out, he was just a bad conductor. What can I say? So we tried to, the shelter in place thing, we tried to help out as much as we could. So we got a dog that we were giving a foster home to. A blacksmith owned him. He was a blacksmith's dog. Blacksmith, they make all the iron stuff, horseshoes and whatever. So we got him home, and the first thing he did is he made a bolt for the door. Okay, all righty. I know that's bad. That's bad. So anyways, we will get on with the show right now, and we'll take you on to some acid flashbacks. Asset management for traffic signs on how to do, and especially if you have no budget anymore. I think this will be kind of interesting to some people. Maybe some people it won't be so interesting. But anyways, here we go, coming at you. Alrighty, hello, welcome to this exciting episode. First, like I said, we used to have this program. We're going to be getting rid of it pretty soon. Let me see if I can find it here. It's called iWorks. Here's what it looked like. It was a fairly decent program. You could pop up your signs, and it kind of did a lot of tracking for you and stuff. But anyways, like I said, we're migrating away from it. We're going to go to this new program, Esri. In the meantime, until we get there, this program's going away. Budget cuts and everything. So that's perfectly fine with me. So what I did is now I have a spreadsheets that I'm using, and just kind of been creating them. I've been working from home a lot on it and stuff. So, kind of excited about getting this going. Anyways, so this is my first sheet, and I'll use this program on a laptop computer when we go out at night. And it's a pretty good deal I got set up here. I hope you can see my cursor here. I got to remember to quit pointing at the screen because it's recording the screen, not just me. So anyways, so what this is, it's broken up into zones for me. So when I go out, you see the zone 1. And if anybody's familiar with Excel, I have these sorted by road name, by zone. At first it goes by the zone, then it goes by the road name, and then it goes by the milepost marker, and then it goes by, I think that's the 3 sorts that I have: the zone, the road name, and the direction. So it has all my westbounds together. And you can see the different colored lines, and I'll explain that in a second. So here we go, zone 1. These are all the roads when we go out and we do a zone. As you can see, a pretty good zone here. Everything that's zone 1 gets checked in one night. You scroll down and see. And what I've done is I put the little icon there so you know what sign's coming up. So what we'll do is we'll get into the road. And let me see if I can find a road that's a little bit longer here. Let's do this Buckley Station. Okay, so here we are at Buckley Station, and we're going to start at the beginning of Buckley Station, and it's a road that runs north-south. So the milepost markers start at this. All milepost markers start at the south, and they get bigger as you travel north. They start at the west, and they get bigger as you travel east. Okay, so you're going north. You're starting at south, and you're going north from the very beginning, and then you're starting at your road at the very big end, or the beginning of your road at the westbound direction, and you're traveling east. So when we get out here and we're going to do Buckley Station Road, we're going to come back. Now you see the different colored codes. Northbound is colored, southbound remains white. So when I get in the truck and I'm following this down, we'll know, okay, we're going to start at the milepost. We're at the stop sign at the beginning of the road here, where Duhigg Road is, and then we're going to be traveling south because we're at the north section. Or we could start from the beginning if we wanted to, but why would we do that? You know, there's no sense in driving all the way to the end of the road to start and then go back and back again. So we're going to start here. Now we're heading south. Okay, there's nothing south yet until we get to here. So here is the, I'm going to try using my, excuse me a second here. Let me find my road again here. Okay, so I'm going to just use my little cursor here. Okay, so there's the road. Now we're going to head south. Okay, my first sign is going to be a not a through sign at milepost marker 0.7. Then we get down to 0.65, and you'll have a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit sign. Then the next we have a south and northbound at this milepost marker, bridge markers. We're crossing the bridge. We're still heading south. There's a milepost marker heading south, or a bridge marker. We're heading south. Okay, there's a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit sign. See, as we're heading in the southbound direction, it helps me knowing that I'm just looking at the ones that are white now, and I'm not paying attention to the northbound because we'll get those on the other side. So then we can check a sign here. You know, suppose this sign was bad. I just make a note. You know, 3237, replace. You know, I can put an R or whatever, you know, it doesn't meet reflectivity. So when you get to the end of the road, then you turn around and you're coming back north, and here you are coming back northbound direction. So I have this sheet set up, and this sheet is just specific for night checks, okay? And you can see, like, when we get down to some of these signs, like this here. If we're on this road here, Soda Canyon Road, you got a stop sign with two street signs on top of it. And you see how I have this number grouped together with a big group? So you know that all the signs are on this support, where here you have like 3206, and you can see that it's just a single sign. And like here you have a stop ahead sign. And like here, for example, I have these two grouped together, and you can see that it's asset number is 3208. What I mean by asset number, that means that's the name of the post. See this post, just a 4x4 wood post with two signs on it. It doesn't have two posts on it, and that's what that post number or sign number is 3208 with two different signs on it. Same thing here, sign number 3418 has two signs on it with one post. And this is in zone 6, and it goes all the way down to all the zones that I check. And by the time we get done, you know, we do one check a week or sometimes two. So we have 15 zones, and so each, I saw a little blurb here, so we'll just fix that sign right here. So I made all these little icons to put in here. And so this sign has a one lane bridge sign with a, what I did when I made it is I didn't set up my parameters just right. Properties, we want to move and we want to, so that sign will stay there forever now. So, you know, there's the sign right there, one lane bridge, yield to oncoming traffic. That's what that sign looks like. And that's going to be in zone 15. And you can see as I get down here, I gotta wait for my Excel. There we go. As you can see, when I get down here, we have approximately, I'm getting to the end of my sheet here. Approximately 6,300 signs here at the county. And so that's That's kind of like my night check thing that we're going to be using. Before, I used to print all these out on a piece of paper. So I'm hoping this will be good. I can just follow along on a laptop and we can see what signs are coming up and everything. So that's my night check Excel spreadsheet. And now we're going to get into my Excel. This is my master copy of my Excel signs. So this is every sign that I have in here right now, and every sign has a local ID, and it has the columns here. And if anybody's familiar with Excel, it's hard to work with big sheets. So what I've done is I froze the top layer and the sides. So when I do scroll around, I can still see the top and the sides. So this has all the pertinent information as to the sign. Like for example, let's just look at this stop sign here. Okay, it is 3963. There's nothing else on this stop sign. So here's the road number, the direction. You know, I have these little drop down menus. So if I found out, oh boy, that sign's supposed to be westbound or whatever, I can, you know, have the little drop downs to change it if I want to. It gives the sign description, road number. Make this column a little bit bigger so the road show. A type of support that it's on. And so I'll scroll across here and you can see that's the cross street that's ahead. That's the type of support that it's on right here. Is this breakaway anchor. That's the mounting height at 7 feet, the type of material it is, the size of the sign, who made the sign. So right now it doesn't look like anybody's made that sign. So it's probably one that's been out in the field that we didn't make. So, and if I did go to replace the sign, I can always just change the information here with my drop down menus. I can put, oh, okay, County of Napa made that sign if we ever made it, but we aren't making that one. So, you know, continue to scroll across the date the sign was last replaced. And I have new installation, who asked for it to be installed. So I can kind of track the different fields. And I do have a GPS. Every sign is GPS. I put that in there. So eventually, when we do migrate over into this Esri, hopefully it'll bring all this information in. But I don't know how much of the information it's going to bring in or anything. So for the meantime, I just have my little asset sheet to keep track of signs on, you know, the size of it, the sheeting, and I have on here. So let me scroll across here. Up here, who made it, the date the sign was last replaced, when the posters were placed, the new installation, who asked for it, who installed it, you know, the size of the sign, material, mounting height, just about everything you're going to really need is going to be in these sheets. I have a road listing A to Z, and you can sort this sheet however you want. You know, suppose I was to go out and do some maintenance on a sign, and all my signs have this ID number on, and that's the ID of the post or the sign was attached to. And suppose I'm out in the field and I'm working and I want to do a repair on sign 1675. It's on Silverado Trail. You know, I got thousands of lines to sort through here. I got 6,300 lines. So anybody who's familiar with Excel, I'm just going to go to my local ID and I'm going to click Control F. And I'm going to punch in that 1675 and I'll just hit enter. And it takes me right to sign number 6. Close this out. There we are, right? It's sign 1675. It's a left turn arrow. And suppose I had to, what I'll usually do sometimes is I'll just go ahead and I'll change that row to a color for now. So it's a different color. Let's just change it to this color here for now. So that way, if I'm scrolling across working on it, and that's why I freeze the top row and the row on the left there with the icon, so I can follow it along. And suppose you know, I had to change any of these. This is just kind of a description of the sign here, you know, when I last installed it and everything. So when I'm done, if I had to make any changes in here, I just make my changes, and I make sure I just always turn it back to the color that I had it. Yep. So we're going to change that to no fill. So that changes it back to the white like it was. So that's kind of my general tracking of all the signs. Down here, I'm still kind of working on it, so I have some backup copies. So I don't want to, you know, destroy all the work that I had. It's a lot of work to put all your signs in an Excel spreadsheet. Fortunately, that program that we used to use, iWorks, I had them all entered in there, and you can generate reports, and it printed it all out on an Excel sheet, and then I would just went over and made my own Excel sheet. I imported all that information over. But I mean, if you have to start from scratch and do all your signs one at a time, that's going to be a huge amount of effort to do that. But you know, it is what it is. So this is something you can work on, as you go. And then what about maintenance? I know everybody's like, well, how do I track my maintenance? Well, yeah, I kind of, let's see, let me shut this one down here. So now I have a maintenance sheet here that I've created with the Excel. Here I just have it, let me scroll up to the top. Here I have it by road. Anybody who's used Excel, when you sort, you can do your custom sorts. I have to pick a row first. Okay, like say you can do your custom sorts here, and I sort my maintenance by road name and number, then by milepost marker, then by direction, and then by treatment date. Okay. Or you can you can change that any way you want. You can even throw in another level if you want, but this seems to work good for me. What it does is it puts all my signs in somewhat of an order, by milepost markers. And so again, like that sign I worked on, 1675 that I showed you on the last time. So if I come over here and I want to do some maintenance on it, I want to find that. You hit Control F, and that'll bring up the find. So here we go, 1675, and you just hit your enter. So there's my sign 1675, okay? And so here's 1675, it's a W1-2 to the left. So you can see some history that I've done to this sign. Accident damage, I replaced the sign imposed, did a little vegetation control on it, more vegetation control on it. And so if you have to add more maintenance in it, you would just click on, here's your W13. I'd come in here and I just insert a row, and these you can just drop back down again. And suppose I did some this line here is going to disappear pretty soon, because I've migrated everything over into these drop down menus. So say this W12, I'm just going to use this as an example. Suppose there was some accident damage and I had to replace the sign and post. So there's the treatment description, accident damage, treatment action taken up there. I replaced the sign in the post. You can make some notes in here if you want. And then right in here, I'm just going to put a date. This is a, what do you call it, a date picker. And suppose I did it on this date. I just picked the date, and there it is. And then these you can just, you can just drop down in here if you really want to, whatever. So anyways, so there's the maintenance. I know it seems a little confusing and stuff, and yeah, I've been a little confused on it at first, but this is going to get us by until we can get some type of information imported over into our Esri. But I've been working on this for a little while now, and it's coming along. It's not done. It's still kind of like a little diamond in the rough. But you got to, these are different, extraordinary times these days, so you got to kind of like just take what you got and run with it. But anyways, I know there's a lot of counties, cities, and stuff that don't have this program. And I know some of these, I've checked out some of these other asset companies for tracking and stuff, and some of them want, $150,000, $200,000 to come in and do this Excel spreadsheet for you. And it's like, oh my God, who can afford that these days? I couldn't imagine going up to your boss and saying, hey, can I have $100,000 to, make my job easier? So, this is working for me. It's working for us. It's anybody who's worked with Excel a little bit kind of knows the pain and how much I've gone through to do this. But it's coming along. You got your little drop downs if you need to change your sheeting and stuff. So a lot of these, if I'll have to make some for the feet and stuff. But it gives you a lot of options to track your signs. And at first, it was taking me a long time, but now it's easy. I just come in here, track it, and then I can go down to my maintenance sheet, make the changes I have to. It's getting real simple to do. And one thing about this night check zone, so there's two sheets I have to do, the general and then the maintenance. Um, it was tough to import all the maintenance onto one sheet because I found out that there's every time you do something, it creates another line. So if I have 6,000 lines here and you times that by another, every time you do a treatment to something, like we go out and we do a reflectivity check every year. We do a lot of signs we cover and uncover icy signs. So I'd be adding another 6,000 lines to that thing every time, every year. Before you know it, it just get out of hand. So that's why I'm tracking it all on one sheet. And then the night checks, I'm not going to track on my Excel sheet anymore. I'm just going to print out a master of all the roads I check, and then just check off that those roads have been checked. But anyways, once you get used to using these programs, with this Excel and stuff, I think it'll work out pretty good for us. So there's kind of my little way of tracking signs, and I've had some little custom icons that I've made. So when you come along here, I've tried to make sure that every sign has a icon, so it's not kind of like you're driving down and you're not sure what they are. But anyways, I could show you. I don't know if you guys have ever made custom icons or anything like that. I mean, inserting icons is easy. I can make a whole new video on all that. I didn't want to get too carried away here. But anyways, there's kind of like our asset management that we're going to for now until we can get into something that's going to work for us. But for now, this is what I've got, and I think it's going to work out pretty good. It's all about just tracking your signs and showing that you've done maintenance to them, and having a plan for changing out signs. What are you going to do when they ask you, well, how do you change out your signs? How do you know when to change them out? Well, we do a reflectivity check every year, a night check. That seems to be the best way versus a blanket check. If you just go out and every year, like we have 15 zones, and we can say, well, we'll replace every sign in every zone. That's very costly and time consuming. So we just replace what we need. So there's our plan in place. So we've got everything covered pretty well. Anyways, I don't want to get into too much of this, but this is kind of what we're doing for now. And be kind of neat to find out what other places are doing right now with their budgets and everything. But anyways, this is what I've got, and hope it works out pretty good for us. All right, there you have it. Asset tracking on traffic signs. A lot of agencies, I don't know how they're doing it. I know some agencies don't do it at all. I asked them how they keep track of stuff, and they go, well, I don't know. I says, well, don't you have records of signs? No. Don't you know when you've replaced them? No. When do you know when to replace them? Oh, when they look bad. And that never looks good. It doesn't look good in court. If you get hauled in for bad maintenance on your signs, how are you going to prove what you've done? Anyway, so at least I'm tracking everything that's been done. So, we'll just keep going on with this. Anyways, it's an Excel sheet. I don't know if you guys are very familiar with Excel. I'm getting kind of familiar with Excel now. I can make some little videos later on how I make those little icons and stuff. If anybody has a need for that, just let me know. Like I said, it's just being bored around the house, looking for something to do. So this has kind of I've been trying to learn Excel, getting a little bit better going on. I had this song playing. Just leave you with this one little more joke here for you. I had this song playing again and again. I hadn't heard it in a long time. I don't know if you've ever heard that song by the Monkees, I'm a Believer. I kept playing it over and over again. And my girlfriend thought it was annoying. She was getting mad. At first I thought she was kidding, and then I saw her face. Anyways, as always, thanks for watching.